1 week ago was March 16th. 1 week ago, Paul Rice posted up on his Facebook page, 6 months since you were taken from your parents, your family, and your friends. 6 months, and I still wake up every morning hoping it was a bad dream. I miss you every minute of every day. Visiting your grave this morning on the way to work was emotional. All the fading pictures, the flowers, the trinkets, the prominent quiet peace and calm. There's no doubt that you were loved by not just your family, but an entire community. Paul Rice joins me right now. Paul, welcome to Talk 107.3. I appreciate you being here, sir.
Thank you, Brian.
Um, I I ask every guest that comes on the show, how are you? How are you?
I'm numb.
Uh,
It's been 6 months, 1 week, and right about 6 hours
yeah.
since she was taken from me, and it's something that it definitely changed me. I, my wife made the comment the other day. She said, "You never smile anymore."
Mm-hmm.
I walk through the day numb. Have good moments, good bad, or bad moments. Uh, it's every day is a roller coaster.
I don't know if there's a way to determine what like 'cause you said a few good moments, a few bad moments. I would imagine the bad greatly outweighs the good, but how do you take hold of those good moments? How do you grasp that and note it?
So when I say good moments, there's a lot of very positive tributes out there for Allie. A lot of her friends have kept in touch with us and check on us periodically or come visit. We hear great stories all the time. It doesn't take long to go over Facebook and just find people remembering her, posting their pictures and talking about something great that, a great experience that they might have had together. That's, kind of keeps us smiling a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Paul Rice is our guest. We're talking about it's been 6 months and a week since Allie Rice was killed. Um, there's got to be multiple layers, multiple levels, multiple outlets of frustration for you. Where is your greatest outlet of frustration right now?
My greatest outlet of frustration right now is basically one, we still have an unsolved case at this point.
Hmm.
Uh, 6 months of just no answers, no reasons why, no true understanding of what happened is very difficult. Makes it hard to go through the day. It makes it hard to sleep at night, not knowing these things. But secondarily to that, I would say just the continuing trend of violent crime here. It stands out more to me now when I wake up in the morning and I see these notifications on my phone. Uh, Spent time getting involved in a lot of the different foundations and uh, working with Chief of Police, United Cajun Navy, a lot of different organizations around here to try to help things. And it just seems like nothing is working.
This has been an investigation where there's been nothing, and it. I remember when it happened, and crazily enough, that's my commute. Like as soon as the scene was cleared, was when I was driving into work. I come to work at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and like so it wasn't, but
You
hours
saw
worth,
it before I did.
hours worth of well, but it was all
Yeah.
gone. Um, but from there, all that came out was an audio record that we know of publicly. I'm sure you've been given more information. It's probably scant and few and far between, but more information than the general public is. But there was an audio recording, and that's it. I How frustrating is it to know that there were other people waiting for that train. There were other people there that the information just it's not there. There's nothing forthcoming.
I truly believe in my heart that somebody knows.
Yeah.
Somebody in that community, in that neighborhood, in different circles around that area know exactly who did it. And it's frustrating, even with a $50,000 reward out there, we can't get anyone to talk. And to me, that speaks of a bigger problem in our area. It's something you've alluded to several times, even this morning, about the people getting out quickly on the
Yeah.
bonds and the light sentences and things like that. These people fear retaliation.
Yeah. Well, and so the problem's so multifaceted. The retaliation's a big thing. The age-old phrase of snitches get stitches is a
Right.
big thing. But the other end of that, the people being out on bond, I find even more infuriating because now you're talking about elected officials. Now you're talking about judges. Now you're talking about people who hold a position of authority who someone can be out on, oh, I had it right, $22,000 bond. for a stack of crimes. They have an ankle monitor. The ankle monitor goes bad. The judge is alerted that the ankle monitor goes bad, and still another crime happens. It's so multifaceted. Um, we're talking with Paul Rice. It's been just over 6 months since his daughter Allie was killed. The initial reaction from the community. How much was that needed just to keep you going?
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, the phone did not stop ringing or dinging for probably 3 or 4 weeks after it happened. Like I say, the great tributes and stories that we got from people, the dinners, the money. Um, we had a lot of different responses in different ways, but every bit of it was meaningful. We had the business community stepping up, walk-ons that had done a give back night for, we did a couple of events at the shed with a volleyball tournament and also a steak dinner night, with all the proceeds going to her memorial fund, which, we're looking to do great things with. But uh, just even today at 6 months, people recognize me. They recognize the bracelets that we wear, the T-shirts. They know the story. They're still, having something to say about it and passing on their support. And that to me is incredible.
How do you keep up your level of faith that we will get somewhere?
That's all I got.
You know,
I I know investigations take time.
yes.
And all loose ends have to be tied up. We've seen a lot of this in the past couple of weeks with the Nathan Millard case, where not a lot of information was coming out in the beginning, but you have to know that there are things going on behind the scenes.
Okay, and I would imagine as this has evolved, as your emotions have evolved and developed or changed over the course of this 6 months, the initial one had to be frustration with the investigation itself. But the output they've got is only as good as the input that comes to them.
Right.
How did Walk me through that a little bit? Walk me through what you were feeling from that end of this whole event.
We had a lot of conversations with the detectives in the beginning. Chief Paul brought his entire staff over to our house a couple of times to go over information that they had, to go over the different leads, allowed us to ask questions and, address different rumors that were floating around and things like that. So having the open communication line with them really helps on there. But at the same time, it's just when you go looking for updates and the answer is still, we have nothing.
Right. Right. Yeah. Speaking of, we have nothing. I'm not going to ask you to reveal anything that you can't reveal, but have you been up to speed on everything they've got in the investigation?
To the best of my knowledge.
Okay. Is there anything that can be shared that we don't, like, in the general public don't know?
There's really nothing publicly shareable right now.
Let's talk about the Nathan Millard investigation. And I've been, from the time that I started seeing reports on this, because it's camera after camera where he was showing up. And if there are a camera on either side of those train tracks, I firmly believe you would have closure at this point.
We would either have closure or it would have never happened.
Also true. Also very true. How do you walk through seeing the Millard investigation play out and not walk through it with what could have been with my girl?
Well, it's one of the reasons we got involved with the Law Enforcement Criminal Justice Foundation with Clay, and we've actually spent money to donate cameras, one to Allie's location, one to the location of Devin Page's murder by the Triple S. We see what the potential that these cameras can bring. No, they're not going to solve every crime. No, they're not going to deter every piece of criminal activity, but they truly have been an asset, these cameras downtown, and being able to follow his tracks on the events of that night, which allow them to get quicker closure, in their case. I'm glad they're able to tie the loose ends up, and I'm hoping these cameras that we're putting out around town now can do the same thing for, well, it's too late for us, but hopefully, the next Allie or.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen it firsthand what cameras can do with the Millard case. So a week ago, you took to Facebook to post up this letter, and I don't know that it's possible to read it without being with. I'm a father of daughters as well. I don't know if it's possible not to, and I can't put myself in your shoes, but at least, that's where the mind and the heart goes. What made you want to do this? This was deep and heartfelt, and it covered a range of everything from grief to guilt. What made you want to put that out there?
One of my personality traits, I guess, is that I bottle some of this stuff up inside, and I'm not very verbal about it. Unless people ask me specific questions, I do much better in writing my thoughts out. And I know people are constantly asking how we're doing, how is our family handling things. So I like to put this type of information out there to let them know. I mean, we are doing good in some ways. In others, we're struggling. We're in pain. And that's, I guess, my way of getting my thoughts and feelings out and being able to express them fully, on my terms, and not being pressured to, within a 30-second window to tell me what's going on.
Right.
So that's something that's been, I guess, therapeutic for me. If you go back through my Facebook timeline, I did it same kind of thing a week after, a month after, and pretty much every month, anniversary that comes up, I tend to post something that I'm feeling and where I'm at on everything.
You mentioned the Page Rice Camera Initiative. How closely tied in? How hands on? Obviously, Allie's name is attached to it. Your name is attached to it. How hands on has that been? Because Clay Young is phenomenal. I love him like a brother and always will. That interaction, what's that been?
Yeah, Clay reached out to me back in November about getting involved in the project and wanting to lend Allie's name as well as Devin's. He introduced me to Kathy Tolliver, at that time, and Clay's been fantastic. He's brought me into the Law Enforcement Criminal Justice Foundation, allowed me to send in some board meetings, hear their discussions about it. We made a $5,200 donation for the 2 cameras that we're sponsoring. It's also brought me into one of the initial meetings of Safe BR, which is just a phenomenal organization. But as far, I've had the opportunity to go visit the Real-Time Crime Center, BRPD, and see these cameras in action. I mean, the pictures that are coming off of these things are incredible.
Yeah.
The resolution, so I'm really hoping we can blanket the city here. I'm going to continue to help spread the word and try to, convince our business owners around town, even if it's not in your, if your area is not considered a high crime area, please consider sponsoring a camera in a location that is. BRPD has a great list built of areas that they would love to see cameras in. Let's protect our community. This is not just a Paul Rice problem. This is not just a BRPD problem. This is a community problem.
We've got Paul Rice, and yeah, I know we're already long, and I appreciate your time. You have an open door around here and down the hall. You already know both of these outlets. But before we get out of here, your plea to those who would have any modicum of information is what?
You heard it on the Crime Stoppers segment earlier. It only could be a small piece of the puzzle, just a little bit of information. You don't have to know everything. Every little bit helps. Anything that might be able to help us tie back to any potential suspect or anybody, committing these types of activities or suspect behavior. Any of that information will be helpful. Please call Crime Stoppers, 225-344-STOP.
He is Paul Rice, Allie Rice's father. We're 6 months and a week removed from Allie's death. I greatly appreciate your time this morning. I don't know how you're doing what you're doing, but I'm proud of you for doing it, man.
Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely.